So 2023 was an interesting year as far as the movie business goes. I mean, from a TV show perspective, I feel like 2023 was really, really successful. But as far as films are concerned, there were a couple of hits and quite a few misses. So it was actually a little bit interesting putting this top 10 list together, as last year there were just so many that I wanted to cram into my top 10. So I actually expanded it into a top 15, whereas this time it was a little bit easier to come up with this top 10 list, but I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on all of these top 10s? And as always, if you want my full-length thoughts, for every single entry, I will link all of my full-length video movie reviews in the description box below. But anyway, let's begin with the list. So in at number 10 is Legion of Superheroes. So I loved the TV series based on these wicked characters, and I would say that Legion of Superheroes is one of the more decent entries as far as the Tomorrowverse universe is concerned, because the DC animated movie universe was absolutely phenomenal, pretty flawless I would even say, whereas the Tomorrowverse just really has not been able to be at that same level. Whereas Legion of Superheroes was actually a really, really good entry, and I feel like the twist, even though it was a little bit obvious, and you could see it coming a mile away, was actually really, really good. In at number 9 is Sharper, so the straight-to-Apple TV movie with a phenomenal cast, including Sebastian Stan and Julianne Moore, were just so good in this really, really clever, really, really twisty, and really well-structured movie. I love it actually when movies have dividers in them, and suddenly you get to see things from different characters' perspectives. I feel like that device is really, really well used when it is done in a really good way. For example, in the Snyder Cut, when they split it into various different parts, whereas this time, you could see it from a different character's portrayal. And the wider mystery and narrative just got more and more crazy as each person's narrative was being shown. It was honestly so good and so underrated. In at number 8 is the recent Wonka movie, which has now taken the box office by storm, and so well deserved, as it was just such a fun movie. I mean, such a beloved character, and to explore his origin was a really, really clever idea. And I feel like Timothée Chalamet, gosh, his star is just on the rise, and I feel like he did a really, really good job in terms of making Willy Wonka really relatable, really likable, really funny, really endearing. And I just feel like the storyline was really, really brilliantly well paced. All of the musical numbers are really, really good. All of the villainous characters, they were nearly going to kill Willy Wonka on a number of different occasions. And I just feel like this whole world just came together really, really well. And I'm just so excited to hopefully see it continue in a sequel, and then a third one, and a fourth one, and a fifth one. It's just going to be so, so bright. And in at number 7 is going to be Scream 6, which was just so gripping. And I feel like the fact that it was set in New York City definitely worked to its advantage, as it was just so clever, so shocking, so unbelievable, so chilling. In some respects, New York City is massive, but also really, really small at the same time. And you can so easily see how people can literally get away with murder in this place. And I feel like the final reveal, while a couple of people are a little bit disappointed in terms of who the actual killers were, I feel like the way in which it was revealed and it was constructed was really, really good. Let's hope that we do get a Scream 7 at that same level, but I guess it's not looking that great because of all of the storylines that are going on behind the scenes. Anyway, in at number 6 is Blue Beetle. Now, I think this movie is so criminally underrated, and I feel like Yolo Maridueñas was just born to play this character, and he was just so good. You could literally really tell that playing a superhero means so much to this guy, as he was acting his heart out. And I feel like it was just such a fun superhero movie. Yes, it did feel very 90s, and yes, certain things could have been a lot better, but I just think it was a really well-paced movie. I feel like it had such nice moments in there, such great family moments in there, really hilarious moments in there, and it really did show how you can be really refreshing and familiar at the same time. And really, that character isn't that well known. I mean, sure, DC fans of course know Blue Beetle really, really well, but I feel like how they threw this guy into the public consciousness with so much success, I actually think was really, really good. In at number 5, I'm going to put Transformers Rise of the Beast, as this was the true definition of a summer blockbuster, and it was just so fun. I mean, people have wanted to see these beast characters within the Transformers world for so long, and I feel like they did that really, really well. I feel like the fact that this was set earlier than all of the other Transformers movies, I feel like that was done really, really well. I feel like all of the new cast were absolutely brilliant. I feel like it was such a funny movie, such a brilliant action movie. a couple of horror moments in there too, and I just absolutely loved it, and I'm just really hopeful that they do a continuation of this, as like I said, this new generation were really brilliant in bringing this movie to life. In at number 4 is the highest rated superhero movie of this year, which has to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was so good. I am guaranteeing you, every single person that watched this shed a tear at least at one stage, as James Gunn really did pull on all of the heartstrings across this movie, and it was really brilliant. I mean, sure, it did feel very James Gunn, and certain moments definitely were forced in here, especially when he's always just hiring all of his friends and his wife and just kind of forcing them into all of his movies. But that being said, I feel like the storyline was really good. I feel like the villain was absolutely unbelievable, and it definitely does win the award for the best superhero movie of the year. In at number 3 is another criminally underrated movie, which is The Creator, which was so good. I mean, I do think that John David Washington maybe was miscast in this role, as I was just expecting him to do a lot more. But I feel like Gareth Edwards did strike lightning twice in terms of making a movie very similarly at the same level as Rogue One, and it was just so heartbreaking to watch right at the end, and poses a really interesting question with AI. Do they actually go to heaven? All of those really interesting aspects are really good, and it was actually made relatively cheaply compared to its counterparts in terms of other blockbusters costing so much money. This one actually was affordable, whilst also looking absolutely grandiose and absolutely unbelievable. But despite that, it was just so shocking and unbelievable that this movie did not actually make a profit, which is just such a shame. In at number 2 is another criminally underrated movie, which is totally killer. Honestly, this movie was so good. I felt like Scream and Back to the Future, infusing these two brands together, wouldn't really work on paper, but it actually did. It was just such a good end result. And everyone brought their A game. Kiernan Shipka and Olivia Holt honestly acted their hearts out and just made such a wicked film. And the end result was so good, and I just hope more people watch it, as like I said, it was absolutely brilliant. But in at number 1, I feel like no one's going to guess what my number 1 is. I am going to say is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, another one that really should have made $1 billion in the box office, as it was just so fun, so gripping. I love this fantasy world. I love the comedic take on this world, whilst also being really true to all of its source material. I feel like everybody played their A game as well. I feel like visually it looked absolutely incredible. These guys went on so many adventures, and I'm just so hopeful that we do get a sequel, as like I said, there is so much potential here, and I just thought it was such a fun movie, such a brilliant magical movie, and I honestly have to say I feel like they absolutely smashed it with this film. So I'm just really hopeful that we do get a continuation, as like I said, this movie was my favourite movie of 2023. I wish that there were better superhero movies released in 2023, but that being said, I do think it was a relatively successful year overall, as other genres really did bring their A game. And so that is my top 10 list for 2023. I would love to hear your thoughts on this list. I know it's a little bit different to what other people are putting in their top 10s, and what are your top 10s? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.